Granddad,
Hi Joshy.
say hi to the camera. So we'll be filming today. This is the camera we're going to be using, Granddad. Auntie Feli's here.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ophelia. I'll cook the bowl and
yum.
make you fruit salad.
Yeah, nice.
Alright?
Alright. So, hello everyone. I'm Josh. This is my granddad. We'll be filming a little documentary today. It'll be more like a conversation, just talking about Granddad's life. Do you want to introduce yourself?
My name's Vince Molino. I was born in Stromboli, Sicily, on the 16th of March 1941. I'll be sharing some of my life with you in the next whatever time it takes.
Yeah. Alright, Granddad. When you were born and like your earliest memories and your family?
I'm one of 5 brothers: Sam, Bob, Joe, myself and Angelo. Stromboli was our birthplace, but it was a very primitive island, and I can't really remember much except for when Ingrid Bergman came there to make a film. She was very good for the island because she put Stromboli on the map. Nobody had heard of us until she came there, and I was very fortunate enough to be selected to be in the film with her. Every Sunday I used to have lunch with her, and when the film was finished, Rossellini, who was later to be her husband, asked my mum if they could adopt me and take me with them. Not surprisingly, my mum refused, so I stayed behind. But
Yeah.
that was a memory
That's great.
I will have forever.
So on the topic of Ingrid Bergman, she was a very famous actress, as we know. There's actually a picture of Ingrid Bergman there. You want to show that off to the camera?
Yeah, well that's Ingrid Bergman there. That lady lived on the island, but she got a small part in the film because she had been to America and she could speak a little English. And this guy here played her husband, and that's me there.
How would you describe the experience working with her?
Oh, it was wonderful. Because, you know, at the time I was only 9 years old. I didn't know who she was, and apparently she was a very famous actress, and she was in a lot of really good films.
So you were 9 in this picture. How did your life progress from that age for you and your family?
Oh, well, from there, my oldest brother came to Australia first, followed by my dad a little while later. And then he was followed by Bob, the next eldest. And then in 1951, my mum, Joe, myself and Angelo came out to Australia to join the rest of the family. We arrived in Melbourne on the 1st of May 1951. So
would you mind rehashing when your first brother came out and the process of how he came out?
Well, it would have been in 1949, and he was sponsored here by Mr. Bob Saltalamacchia, who had a fruit shop in St Kilda, just at the back of Luna Park. Yeah, that's where he worked. And then my dad came out, and then when Bob came out, the story goes that my dad and Bob lived in Balaclava. They were working at the Ever-Ready batteries in South Melbourne. And to save money to bring the rest of the family out here, they used to walk to South Melbourne to save the fare on the train.
Wow.
They made a lot of sacrifices for us to join them here.
All that saving money, working hard, that allowed the rest of the family to all come out, including yourself.
Correct, yeah.
As well. Okay.
The dad at the time was renting a place in Bialaba Street, South Caulfield, but after about 12-18 months we were able to buy a house in 24 Alder Street, South Caulfield, which we lived for years. Then my next period of life I took up bike racing at the Packer Reserve in Carnegie.
Yeah. How old were you at this point?
15,
About
16.
15? We have a visual of that as well.
Yeah.
So you mind explaining that little frame there?
This is me here, 3 other guys. Well, apparently this one's passed on, we still have a get-together
Yeah.
with the riders of that time. Now that's Joe Chiavola. I don't know this, I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
That's Des Howard. I still see them, you know, maybe twice a year.
Oh yeah. So you catch up.
Yeah.
And how would you describe your experience with the bike riding at that age?
Oh, that was fun, you know.
Yeah.
We used to ride at a local track on Saturday afternoon, and Saturday night I used to get a train and go out to the velodrome in Richmond and race there.
So were you in a organised competition?
Yes.
Were you racing in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I also used to race on the road. In the winter time you race on the road.
Yeah.
In the summertime you ride on the track.
Yeah. We'll backtrack a little bit. Just back to when you first settled in Australia. How old were you when you came to Australia?
I was 10.
And describe the travel from Italy to Australia.
Just going back, when we left Stromboli, we went to Barcelona in Sicily, not Barcelona in Spain. And we stayed with my uncle and auntie 2 or 3 weeks. Then we went to Messina to catch the ship to come out here. And the journey took 40 days, and a long time, because it was an old German ship, and I reckon you could walk quicker than how that ship travelled.
Were you excited to start a new life, or you were pretty nervous?
Yes, yes. The one funny story I remember on the trip, I was in a big dormitory, you know, with a lot of women and their kids. And next to our bed was this woman that had a child about the same age as Angelo. And one night I went to the cinema, and when I came back, because it was all dark, I jumped into bed, and then I realised I was in the wrong bed with this woman and her little boy.
Yeah.
So I haven't forgotten that one. Yeah, then we arrived here on the 1st of May, 51.
And going from there, so when you first arrived here, what was your first impressions about Australia?
It was exciting. I went to Holycross School in South Caulfield. I didn't go to secondary school. I finished, I think, when I was in grade 6.
How did you feel like you and your family adjusted to life in Australia? Did you find that it was easy to adjust socially and culturally?
Oh yes. No, it was good. I remember Father Carroll from the Holy Cross. He was very, very supportive of me and the others. He was a good man.
Yeah. So finishing primary school then, where did you go from there? What was the direction that you took?
I was selling papers on the corner of Hawthorne and Glen Huntley Road. Used to do a morning round. Then after a while there was a little supermarket on that corner, and he asked me if I'd like to work there. So I took up the offer. I worked there. I would have been 13, 14. And after a while there was a fruit shop just further, a few doors up. He said to me, "How much are you getting paid there?" He said, "You come and work for me and I'll pay you more." So off I went there.
Okay. So that was just right next to where you were working initially?
Yeah, just a few doors up. He was a great guy, very nice, no problem. Then after about 1956, the Olympic Games year here in Melbourne, we bought the shop on the corner of Kooyong and Glen Huntley Road, and I told him I was leaving to be with my brothers. In 1956 I would have been 15. I stayed there till about 1964. This Jewish man had a Venetian blind factory. My wife used to work for him, so he offered me a job there. I would have left about 1970, 71, and I started work for myself.
Because one thing that I've read about the Italians when they came out post World War II was that they were very hardworking and giving a lot to the Australian economy.
Yeah, I think we made a contribution to the country. Okay,
so with that Venetian blind business, how did you find working for yourself, working independently?
Well, I did it for 30 years. You're self-employed, you don't have to answer to anyone.
Yeah, exactly. You can kind of just do your own thing. Big part of your life, which is what you're very known for as well, was the umpiring.
About the early 70s, I started in the local competition. I was a field umpire for the juniors in the morning, In the afternoon I would do the goal umpiring for the senior games. And then after about 1977 I applied to the VFL in those days. I got in and I did the goal umpiring there. But I enjoyed it. The years I did it, very good.
Got a vision of you there, Grandad.
That's me in action. I think this was at the Western Oval in Footscray. On a Thursday night we would go to the MCG to train. Thursday, after that we would have a meeting and we were all given our appointment sheet, where they wanted you to perform on the Saturday. Then we did the game, it was very enjoyable. After the game you go in the rooms and have refreshments with the players, the umpires and the officials of the other team and some of the players.
Okay, nice.
I was the 180th goal umpire to do a senior game since the game started in 1897. So I was given that. That's my wife and I was given that. 1 year I was emergency for the grand final. Yeah, it's good to be involved in sport. I'd rather be involved in sport than do drugs out the street.
Yeah, of course, I got a good answer. We've got one more of these frames to talk about. So just on the topic of your family, just holding that one up.
That's in front of our place in Alder Street, South Caulfield, which my dad bought about 18 months after we all got together. That's my eldest brother Sam, that's my dad, my mum, Joe, Bob, Angelo and myself there.
How would you describe the relationship with your brothers as you grew up, given the age gap between some of you?
It was really good. We're all very close.
Yeah. How do you feel about the decision that your family made and, the legacy that you want to carry on to future generations?
Oh, well look, Josh, it wasn't only us that left the old shores after the war because there was no future there. Everyone was emigrating for a better life.
Australia was chosen because your brother was able to get sponsored. Could you describe the process, how he got sponsored, how they reached you?
The man who sponsored him, he was from Strombley as well, but he'd been here a long time.
Oh, okay.
We must have asked him if he could sponsor Sam, which he did.
Yeah.
And then once Sam was here, it just rolled on.
Yeah.
You got my dad here and then Bob and then the rest of us. There was a future here. There was no future on that primitive island.
To what extent did you know about the outside world when you were living in...
Nothing. Could have went to England or America. We finished up here and, well, me personally, I don't regret it. I've had a good life here.
Yeah. Pronounce your name as the Italian kind of way of saying it, as you should.
Vincenzo Molino.
Great.
Going back to when I was, working and saving money, just after I was married, I was working in the Venetian blind factory. During the day, at night, I was working at the local hotel, selling beer. To scrape up the deposit to get a house.
Yeah, exactly. So very hard working. What do you want to leave behind as the family continues to grow?
Work for your family and be close and enjoy life.